All right, so let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 22nd, 2020. Q's up 1%, SPY up 0.66. Coming into today, bullish as we have been. Okay, bullish on the market. Q's and SPY, especially the Q's, bullish. Went over the market with you this morning as well if you're in the room. I was bullish on the Q's, SPY a little bit more neutral on it, but not bearish either. All right, and so continuation of the uptrend so far is what I am expecting. Daily bullish, SPY bullish. We were waiting to see if we were going to get follow through on the sell off on the Q's here. If we were going to be able to get to be bearish, but you see we bounced and then we gapped up and we're still looking higher, right? So I think we did a good job. If you've been following along, not getting overly bearish, not getting ahead of ourselves, doing something that we've seen hasn't worked for the past month. Okay, so acknowledging the context, acknowledging the environment that we're in, right? That's been keeping us kind of on the right side of the market bias. Okay, all right. So let's get into today's play on the ALT. Okay, we had a pro gap up. Wanted to see this clear and potentially get us closer to the $9 as a target. All right, so we were breaking over all of this consolidation here, right here, and we got triggered in. Okay, right here. I did say take some because I didn't like how the volume was coming in and how big the bar was. Okay, now we weren't getting much on it because that's only really 25 cent pop, and we were using a stop that was a little bit less than that. So I think it'll really only pop for a little over an hour there. Okay. I said I didn't really like the way that that's moving up. Now, that's just come from experience because, when I first started trading, I thought that you get this volume, get this big bar here, that all the smart money or the big money, they're all, thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, and so this is surely going to be a big winner. But what I found is that if this bar gives us an inside bar and then doesn't hold, it's probably going to fail, and that's what's happening there is that everybody is crowding into the same entry. And as everybody crowds in, right, either the shorts that are jumping out or the longs that are getting in, there's no one else to push it higher. Okay, so that's why we trailed underneath this bottoming tail here. Okay, so when you get this wide range bar, volume kicks up, right? That's when you want to start protecting against a breakout failure. Now, what is it supposed to look like if it does work? See this right here? See how volume kicked up right here? Okay, now if I would be doing the same thing if I had played this. Once this bar finished forming, I'd be looking to trail underneath that bar. Because if this bar doesn't continue, if we actually go underneath that bar, this is probably this breakout here, which is breaking out over this consolidation here, is probably gonna fail. Okay, volume kicked up a little bit, range did kick up, not too bad, not too excessive. The more excessive, the more that you want to be cautious of that breakout failure. And then eventually broke out. This isn't really an inside bar, and then kind of found a top there. Okay, but if I were in this, targets would be high of the day, so it'd be far beyond target eventually on the ATOS. So, but you can see here, if it is gonna follow through, if it is gonna work, this bar, inside bar, should not get taken out. Let's take a look at another example here. This is the MVIS. We're looking at this right out of lunch here. Notice how right here, right, the volume picks up here. Okay, notice the volume and the bars decently sized. You can see the bars bigger probably than the last dozen or so. Maybe this bar here is bigger. Okay, bigger. So then you get this inside bar. Now this one you can see actually gives you another inside bar. Okay, what you don't want to see is this bar get taken out. Let's say you got in right here, like over 165. You don't want to see that this underneath this bottoming tail get taken out. If this breakout is for real, if this is going to continue, if this momentum is going to get follow through, it should keep going, right? The inside should not be taken out. Okay, primarily what I want to look for, because you can get different patterns on the 1, the 2, the 5, right? It's not that necessarily the 15 is the most telling, but I want to look at the one, the largest time frame that has this kind of pattern on it. Okay, and it happens to be the 15, because all of these were happening in the afternoon. And that was the time frame we were primarily focused on as well. Okay, so notice again, volume kind of picks up volume picks up and the range picks up again on this breakout, much bigger than these last couple, right? It does another inside bar, right? So at this point, if you're in this, you should be thinking that this really shouldn't get taken out, this 172, right? If this is going to hold, or if this is going to continue, this should hold, right? All right, now we get another big pop. Let's say, if you had gotten in on this, say you were playing when it broke high of the day or something, this one, again, you want to be concerned about on that entry. Gives you the inside bar. You don't want to be letting this, you want to be getting out if this breaks. Okay, because if it does, it's probably going to come down. Now, this is the end of the day, so we don't get any more bars after this. Okay, but that gives you something to look out for if you play a lot of breakouts, especially when they break out with big volume like that, like we did on the ALT. Now, we didn't end up getting much out of it because of the first half didn't trail much, and then the second half was a little bit worse than break even. So it made very little. But, this, if we had not, also would have stopped. You can see it came all the way back down and broke that base. So, so hopefully, if you do play breakouts, this is one way that you can kind of avoid some losses or kind of tighten up on some nice plays, because a lot of these did work out pretty nicely. The ATOS, the MVIS was even better, right? But knowing when there's going to be trouble. And I even mentioned when this did break out, I don't really like this breakout, and I need to start watching for an inside bar to happen, because that means, we're all kind of crowding into the same entry. And so the potential for no follow through, because everybody's getting in at the same time, is the potential is there. Okay, and that's pretty much what happened. All right. So that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Thought it wasn't too much going on this morning. Had a couple things that were on the favorites list here. LTHM in the morning, and NTVA or NVTA at the open there that had a nice 1 minute base breakout, but wasn't the easiest morning, I thought. So hopefully we'll get some better stuff this afternoon. Like I stressed last week, I just want to be as selective as possible. No reason to be aggressive or over trading. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I think that'll be the case until we get into July. Okay, all right. Hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a good evening.